Apparently, it doesn't matter if I'm live in the studio or if I'm on a screen on the other side of the world. It just starts as a cluster, leaves me alone here on my own in the studio. I thought it'd be different than what it is. Hey!
I had to go get my coffee, so just remember to keep it simple.
Right.
So,
can we talk about this, please?
Yeah,
talk. Coffee.
Go ahead, talk.
So
let's just go live on Instagram.
We just sat here and we're like, okay, so I've now got the best coffee in the world. What are we going to argue about?
Yeah.
At the start of this week's live. And maybe it was the lack of coffee.
Maybe it was. Yeah.
Maybe it was. And here we are. How are we going there, tech guy?
Yeah, well, just so anyone was watching, what I'm trying to do is we thought, well, we never go live on Instagram.
Because we can't.
Yeah, well, we can't share this particularly live, but we thought, well, what if every time I do that, it says live video ended. So there you go. So let's just say that's not going to work, and we're not going to waste any time with that.
Cool.
All right. So this week, so that tactic didn't pan out, did it? Concerning all the things we're talking about today.
I'm trying to think of something punny to say about tactical planning and not working.
Yeah, well, let's not worry about that.
Don't get a tick from your tactics.
Yeah. All right. So today, tactical planning. This is what we're here to talk about. Firstly, let's talk about the most important thing. Let's talk about the humicorn in the room. Right? Let's get that out of the way.
Like an elephant, but better. Hi!
So we actually have live in Circle Leadership Headquarters studio, Lisa, the humicorn Ferguson here, not coming to you live from rainy Queensland, but we're here in Perth, West Australia. Coming to you live. How cool is this?
It's also rainy. You're welcome.
Yeah. And she brought the rain with her. All right. So let's get into tactical planning. So in today's live stream, now we've got past the usual beginning banter and the going live stuff. We did not know how this was going to go with Lisa in the studio physically. Normally I can just mute her when she's not in the studio, but so tactical planning. This is kind of getting down to literally the pointy end of business. So we've gone through a whole journey about looking at, why does our business exist? How do we uniquely think about it? What's that world that we want to create together? And then what's the business we need to build to start creating that world that we see? And then we looked at, reimagining the way we think about strategy and looking at a what must be accomplished strategy rather than a how-to strategy. And then we talked about, breaking that down into 3 years, 1 year, and then 90 days in terms of using objectives and key results. And really challenging people to not just take a new way of thinking and put it into their old way of doing, but a new way of thinking should create a new way of doing. And then the last piece of that, the last piece that we went through then was looking at the whole thing as a business evolution roadmap, right? So we went through mapping out the whole thing so we can get everyone on the same page in the organization.
In the same room.
Yeah, or in the same room, which is kind of cool. That's an interesting point because we've had a lot of clients, obviously with distributed working going on and all this sort of stuff, saying how do you handle that? How do you keep your culture and people focused and working on, and how do we know that they're doing the right work and everything like that in a distributed working world? And well, first thing you do is make sure you get everyone on the same page. So if everyone's, loves why we do what we do, and we can all speak that love to the market, we all know what the future of the organization is, the organization we're building together, what that looks like 3-12, and what we're working on, what matters most in the next 90 days, and how we're going to measure those things, then everyone can see all that. And then I guess this is where what we talk about is fast execution, that is looking at how do we help people execute at a far greater rate than they ever have before. And then the way you get your team to, I guess, make sure you've already got them on the same page, but how do we know that they're achieving is to set them up with their own objectives and their own key results, and then have a system of accountability. We talked about this before. So we have an innate focus on what matters most. So fast execution says, do we have an innate focus on what matters most? Then A is for accountability. Do we actually have a system of accountability? Not just, people being more accountable. It's actually creating a system of accountability in the organization. And the part we're going to talk about today is building a simple plan, right? So S is for a simple plan, and then T is for transparency, and it's setting it up where everyone can see what everybody's working on. So if we have focus, accountability, simplicity, and transparency, we will execute at a far greater rate than we ever have before. So today we're actually going to talk about the simple plan. right? Because I find that when we've worked with organizations in the past, that they just try to complicate things. They try to get things in too big, chunky things to be done. And then we block out time to work on something. I'm going to block out the next 4 hours to work on something, and then spend most of the time sitting there going, now, how should I do that?
Can I ask you a question around that, Dave?
Go for it.
Do you feel like that organizations and businesses, and I've seen this in corporate, I don't want to pick too much on them, we love you so much, that when it gets complicated and when it's so chunky and bulky, it's actually, and people might not even know that they're doing it, they're hiding behind the fact that maybe this isn't a great idea, that maybe this isn't what matters most right now. And so because it's so big and chunky and complicated, they hide behind the ickiness of it and use that as a reason as to why we can't execute, because it's actually probably not the thing we should be doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% what happens. And it gets so big, or they don't even know where to start, so they have to hide because I don't know what to do. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest challenges when it's too big, icky, or like in many project management situations, 90% of the project's done. That was all the easy stuff. Now the 10% that's left is the big chunky stuff. But the problem with all the big chunky stuff is we haven't broken it down into smaller bite-sized pieces that's more digestible and that we can do. So one of the things we're going to cover on this live stream is talking about how to make your simple tactical plan into small digestible pieces. Like the old adage we talked about, the elephant in the room, or in this case, the unicorn in the room. How do you eat an elephant?
Well, I would eat a cake.
Yeah, okay. Well, how do you eat a cake?
Thank you.
One forkful at a time.
Face first.
Yeah, face first. Yeah. Smash that cake.
But how much does it feel like that when we're trying to have a go at this stuff, we're literally smashing our face against something that is not helpful?
Yeah, 100%. The old pie in the face is like, here, do the work.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things we're going to cover on this. So we're going to talk about in terms of why have a simple tactical plan, right? Then how to set one up. And then we're going to go through a bit of an example of what one looks like.
Cool.
All right. So firstly, why to have one? Well, we've done a lot of content this week we've produced around why to have a simple tactical plan. And I guess more so who needs to be involved in that simple tactical plan. Because in organizations, usually what happens in many organizations is that we work out what results need to happen. Then we go, okay, let's the leadership team work out how we're all going to do it. And then what jobs do we need to have people do? And we go, okay, Lisa, here's the result. Here's the plan. Go execute on the plan. Okay. And so Lisa has the plan. She goes off and executes on it to the best of her abilities, but without any sense of ownership of the plan, accountability to the plan, responsibility to the plan, because she didn't create it. She wasn't involved in that. Her job is to be robotic and just get it done. Just do the plan.
I got it done.
Okay.
You wanted a pink Post-it note, didn't you?
That's exactly what I'm looking for, right? A small, simple, bite-sized pieces. But yeah, so when you go through that, it's just like, okay, so now all of a sudden, how are we supposed to help Lisa bring her best self to work and then do her life's best work while she's in our care and beyond if we're not getting her involved in the work? So please, please, please remember this, that if you, get people involved in the work, involved in decisions about the work, we as leaders and owners, sometimes we're sitting there making decisions on behalf of people who are actually doing the job without any true understanding of what they're going through, what they're dealing with, what they see, what they're involved with, what they're, the massive amount of intelligence that A, your people have, and B, that they're exposed to is critical in your business. And you don't, A, have to have all the answers to start with, and B, the answers you have will be your answers, not the answers. So you're paying for all this talent and ability in your organization. So why would you not tap into that more and get their insights? For two reasons, because they might know some stuff that you don't know or see something that you don't see, but also it will help you understand, and we've talked about this before about becoming a coach, not a boss. They may see, what you'll be able to see is what they're thinking, and you might know what thinking you want them to have, and it will create coaching opportunities for you. So getting your people, first and foremost, involved in the planning process helps you to find out what your team, where they're at and what they know and what intelligence they can bring to the table. And then you can have that and look at, okay, what you know, and you go, is there a gap? And then how can we help coach the gap?
Coaching gap.
Right. So to me, it's really important. The tactical plan isn't just about how we're going to get this thing done. It's how do we help our people become the best version of themselves, do the life's best work while in our care and beyond, and give you the opportunity to coach that person So if I get them involved in the work and involved in decisions about the work and find out what they think and tell me how you think you'd do this, like again, all that context will come from that.
Yeah.
Rather than going, here's your plan, Lisa, go get it done.
You're not my real dad.
Right. Yeah. And if you wonder why your people are acting very robotic, it's because you're treating them like robots. Right? Just do the work. And we've joked about this before. In old school days, it was said, hey, you're paid to work, not to think. Right? So you're paying for that 100% of that person to be there, but you're saying, I only want you to do this. Even though I'm paying for this, I don't want to use that. I don't want to tap into that. I don't want to access that.
It's kind of like having an epic iPhone because iPhones are so epic, aren't they, Dave? Yes.
But as epic as instant coffee.
But only using it to send a text message.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like seriously, why get these fancy phones and everything we have, smartphones, if we're going to use them just for the simple, most fundamental things? Just get no offense to Nokia or a standard phone, just get that.
Like, get a Samsung if you want a crap phone.
Anyway, moving right along out of the studio. So, why you should have tactical plans? Because it really is part of the process of helping your. So why you should have tactical plans is because it's breaking down your goals into bite-sized pieces that's digestible. But then it's also designed to help bring your people along on a journey and to help you understand how to coach them better, and also to help them to bring their best self to work at the same time. There's so much more to the human element of a tactical plan than there is actually achieving the results of the business. Now, the problem when it comes to tactical planning in a lot of situations is that most people are doing their planning reactively. They're looking at... Dora, it's strange for me too. Get
out of the way.
Yeah.
My show now.
So there's reactive. Most people are reactive in their planning process. They're going, okay, what do you think we should do this week? Now they disguise that as being proactive. They're thinking weekly in advance. Okay, how are we going to achieve this week? Part of what we're suggesting when you're doing your simple tactical planning process is if you've got your 90-day objectives, we know what the key results are. What we should be doing is going, okay, let's start now to work out how we will achieve, because the only time we need to worry how to is every 90 days. And this is where our tactical planning comes in. So instead of worrying about how to 3 years, how to 1 year, who cares? We don't even know what's going to happen in the next 12 months, let alone 3 years. We can barely guess what's going to happen in the next 90 days. So let's make our tactical planning just every 90 days. But instead of doing it week by week, let's at least get all the initial thinking out of the way at the beginning. So how do we go about, working out in advance, what would be the things we would need to do to achieve that result in the next 12 weeks? Right? So even if you just went one thing we had to do this week, one thing we need to do next week, and we talk about the 12 simple steps. If you just pick the one simple thing that we needed to do every week that would move us closer and closer to that objective, you'd be surprised at how fast you actually get moving. So firstly, don't do it week by week. At the very beginning, do it right at the beginning and get all your initial thoughts out and question and challenge and everything, and map out as many thoughts and ideas as you have for the full 12 weeks. Yeah. Right? And then you can actually get them, and we'll show you this what it looks like in a moment. And then once you've got all this mapped out, and we'll go through like how to map them out, you can put dates to them and then who's responsible for them. And then you can data sort them into date order, and then you'll know out of if you have 3 core objectives and 9 key results, so we have 9 different key results, and we have all these tactical plans in place for all 9, we can then data sort all our tactics or the tasks that have to happen and in date order, and we can go, this week, all we have to worry about is these things that need to be done, and here's who's supposed to be doing them. Okay? So take your tactical plan, move it into a more proactive stance, and then basically get it sorted out into date order, and then assign it to the people, or get the people. Obviously, you're getting like, hey, Lisa, how do you think? And we'll talk about that in a moment. But it's not me going, here's a tactical plan, here's how it's going to do it. It's getting all those people involved. What do we think is the next step? How are we going to do that? And then go, okay, Lisa, are you going to do that? Okay, great, you're going to take care of that. Tiana came up with this amazing idea. Okay, Tiana, are you going to run with that, or who do you think should be involved in that? So we're getting everyone involved in decisions about the work, and then not only my work, but you're getting involved in the decisions about the work that I'm doing, and I'm going to get involved in the decisions about the work you're doing, and Tiana's going to. So we're sharing all that brain power, because all of a sudden Tiana's going, hey, did you guys think about this? Like, oh no, shoot, didn't think about that. Thank you. Tactical plan. So why you should have one? Some ways to think about your tactical plan. Now here's what needs to be done. The simple way to do a tactical plan is this. So if you look at one of the key results, so one of ours was say, complete our marketing system. Okay, we'll show you the plan in a second, but one of our things was complete our marketing. One of our key results is, the objective was to systemize our organization. We in the next 90 days, we wanted to make sure that Circle leadership becomes far more systematic. One of those systems we needed to put in place was our marketing and content structure that we have. So we said, okay, well, we have to have that fully completed by the end of 90 days. And then we said, okay, so what would be the first thing that we need to do? And open discussion between myself, Lisa, Tiana. Okay, what do you guys reckon is the first thing we need to do? It's, I could say, here's what we should be doing. Here's how to do it. Tiana, you're going to do this. Lisa, you're going to do that. Da, 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 da. Go make that things happen. But what we sat down and goes, what do we think the first thing should be? And then whatever it is you come up with, doesn't matter if it is the first thing.
Yeah.
When you come up with your tactical plan, here's what we think is the first thing. The next question you ask, is there anything we would need to do to make that happen? Oh, yeah, in order to get that happen, we'd need to do this, this, and this. Oh, okay. So now all of a sudden we're just pick a starting point, I guess, the thing. Like, pick a starting point and go, we think that's the first thing, and then question that. What would we need to do? And if it's nothing you'd need to do, then that's the starting point. But if it's not, well, what else would we need to do? Okay, cool. We've done that. Then we do that. Okay, then what would need to happen after that? And then what would happen? What would happen? Now, please remember, when you're making these tactical plans and you're looking through that lens of simplicity of the step-by-step, that if it's going to be more than 15 minutes to an hour to complete, there's more than one step.
Mm.
Any of our tactical planning steps take no more than an hour.
Mm.
Okay?
And can I say that I've got to go through my tactical plan at the moment, because the ones that haven't been completed and that aren't ticked off are all ones that we're going to take longer than 15 minutes to an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, crap, no wonder why I'm doing this. So
Yeah.
then you can take, and please don't, to the point then is, don't be afraid. Just because we proactively mapped out everything we think it's going to take doesn't mean that on the fly you're not going to add tasks or realize that, oh, crap, that needs to be broken down into something smaller, right? Because the smaller, more digestible pieces that it is, the easier it is to get accomplished.
Yeah.
Because when your mind goes, okay, yeah, 15 minutes, I can get that done.
Mm. Mm.
And then we're actually building a momentum. It's like it's a like me to accomplish stuff momentum.
Yeah.
Right. And that's because when we set all ourselves up for these things, and please understand the psychology at play here, is when we set these big chunky tasks and we don't get them done, like, oh crap, I didn't get that thing done again. Oh crap, I didn't get that thing done again. And then it becomes this habit that is like me not to get shit done. But when you're sitting there breaking it into small, bite-sized pieces, you actually go, wow, I got that thing done. And it's like a small, simple win. I don't care. Every time I have a small, simple win, I can step on top of that. And then the next one, I can step on top of that. And I can build this staircase for me to be able to accomplish great things, right? It's building this success or accomplishment mindset. It's like me to get things done. So the smaller bite-sized pieces, the better it is, actually, because I can get a whole bunch of stuff done. And if it's all aligned to achieving the key result, it's not like just creating a random to-do list and going, here's all the stuff I did, and then going, hey, crossing it off because I've already done it.
Yeah.
To make myself feel good.
Yeah, I'm going to make my bed on my to-do list so that I feel better about crossing things off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or making your bed, then putting it on your list, and then crossing it off.
I may or may not have done that.
Okay.
Way too many times.
Yeah.
But this is the other thing, and to your momentum point as well. Just choosing, and for all of my overthinkers out there, I see you. It just going, is this what we need to do? What needs to happen? Is this what needs to happen first? And not having any pressure on yourself about, is this right or wrong? Just get a starting point, because what that does is it helps reduce the paralysis or the over analysis paralysis. Going, I don't know where to start. This is also overwhelming. I don't know if I'm going to get it right, so I just won't start. Because if we can just go, is this what needs to be done to achieve this? And then go, like you say, is this the first thing? Is this the first thing? Is this the first thing? To help get that momentum going. Because there's nothing more motivating or inspiring than your own results. So if you've developed it's like me to accomplish things mentality, and you've done that for yourself, that's on the back of your own action and your own results and your own success in that space, it means that you're able to continue to expand further into that to take even more effective aligned action towards achieving these objectives.
100%. So we've talked about reactive versus proactive, and to build a proactive simple plan. Get your first thought down, then reverse engineer that first thought, and then move forward from that. Then look at who and when would need to do those things, then breaking them into small bite-sized pieces. So let's now take a look at what that looks like. So we want to share with you, we'll show you how this is how we do our own, in terms of our own execution. Okay, so we're going to share with you our,
Guess who's driving the computer?
Yes, very scary for me. So, as you can see on the screen right now, so this is the two of our core objectives. There's another one of them is my personal objective, which is fine. But so mind-blowing client care is one of the things we must accomplish this because we're transitioning all our clients from one platform to another. And we're rolling out a new group coaching process and everything like that. So one of the things we wanted to make sure in our organization in the next 90 days is that we maintain mind-blowing client care because any of our clients who are listening or watching this, I'm sure they would support us with this, is that, nobody cares more than we do about them in terms of as human beings. We look at everyone as human beings first, client second. And so we will not compromise that. So we want to make sure we maintain mind-blowing client care in the next quarter as we went through this transition. And then we looked at our 3 key results. And one of the other things which we've already talked about is we need to be systemizing our organization. As we're bringing people in, we've got Lisa now, we've got Tiana, we're bringing more people in the team to serve our clients. We need to make sure that how we bring our clients in, how we market our business, and how we onboard our team are much more systematic, right? Not just running around in Dave's head, which is a dangerous place in the first place.
And it's really hard to get into Dave's head to get those things out.
Yeah, 100%. So when... and James is watching, so g'day, James. Let's just look at, so if we look at systemizing, I think, and let's just look at, say, complete our CLG marketing system. So that's our key result. So what we did is we sit down and we go, okay, if you scroll right down to the bottom of that page there, this is our tactical plan. We said, okay, what's the first thing that we actually need to do to complete our marketing plan? And, we talked about setting up a funnel template. All these things here. I don't remember which one we started with. Because we already had a part of it documented, which is fine, and we have a process in place. And they said, okay, well, what we need to do then is start creating all the PDFs, all the content, and stuff like that. And you can see here, there's a whole bunch of things that are repetitive, right? So part of our tactical plan is making sure that I'm reviewing the content that Tiana's creating every week for our organization. And then I have to make sure I'm sending the relevant PDFs to her to upload and get everything set up. She's got to get the funnel set up in the weekly client machine. And that's kind of a repetitive thing that we're doing for that particular plan every week, right? So you can see that that's what we've been doing. So coming up now, we're looking at launching a new workshop. So we had to set dates for new workshops. So Tiana and I have to liaise with that. I've got to finish off, I think, the templates for the workshop presentation. So these things are all just small little bite-sized steps that need to be done. So you can just see for that key result, we've just sat there as a team. We've gone, what are all the things that need to be done? There wasn't too much that needed to be done, like too many multiple or different steps, but the same steps need to be repeated. So what we've done is we put them in repetitively to make sure they're still getting done. Okay, so every week I have to review the previous week's content. That's something simple that I have to do every week. So that's why it's in there for every week. I've already sent the PDFs and everything to Tiana, and she's got everything already set up. So the weekly content machine is already set up. And it's just a matter of me then reviewing the content, making sure it's still relevant to what we want to present each week. Right? And then you can see at the top here, we can see how we're progressing through the process there. So we're a little bit behind in the middle of April because of Easter, but we've managed to catch up on all the things that we need to do now. So if you want to go back out of there, and if you just go to on the black bar, and then just go to all tasks. Yeah. So here's what we'll show you. This is how we also look at it, right? So just click off up there so we can get it. So actually, if you hit page 2, it'll probably bring us up to more current. No, well, you can scroll down probably as well. There we go. So here we are in May. So this is a master list. So what we actually have is a master list of all key results that we have, and all tasks are part of our tactical plan for each of those results. And then who's responsible. So here's the date. Here's who's responsible for it. Here's the key result. Here's the task that needs to happen. And here's the key result. And what's the status of that particular thing at the moment. So here we are on the 19th of May. If we scroll down. So if we scroll right to the bottom, please. Yeah. So in our beginning of our meeting, this every Monday we have an accountability meeting. We're talking about having a system of accountability, remember. So in our accountability meeting, we look at this week, we look at the week that was, and we go, okay, Lisa, we can see all the things that were done or not done. What did we learn from this past week? Is there anything that's still outstanding that we need to adjust or tweak? Anything else that went? Tiana, how did you go? And then we go, okay, hey, let's look at the week ahead. And we go, okay, Dave, you've got to do your live on Thursdays. You've got to do create that introduction email. You've got plus a bunch of personal stuff. I've got to get that list of stuff to Tiana. Anything that I might have to do this week, we're going, okay, cool. Is there anything that would stop you from getting that done this week? Do you need any support or any help with that? And do we believe that that's the best use of your time this week?
That's the key piece.
Right? So the tactical plan, it's not just about creating the tactical plan, but it's using that tactical plan as part of the accountability system. And we have those meetings every week now to go through the tactical plan, to constantly challenge the tactical plan and make sure that what we thought is still true today. Just because we believed it to be true when we first started out this key result doesn't mean that it's still true today. Because as we move forward, the further we walk, the further we can see. Well, we've seen some things we're going, hey, you know what? We really need to do this now instead of that. But what we're also doing from a tactical plan, getting people involved in the work, involved in decisions about the work. It's not just about getting me involved in the decisions about the key results that I'm responsible for, but it's also getting Lisa and Tiana involved in those conversations, to saying, hey, so this is what we've got mapped out. This is what I'm going to be working on. What do you reckon based on what you guys have seen, what's happening? Do you think this is the best use of my time? Is there anything else you think is more important? Or going, hey, Dave, we've got some stuff. Looks like you got a lot on this week. I can take that from you. Do you want me to handle that this week? Right? And we go, okay, cool. Then we'd reassign that task to whoever that person was who would take it on. Right? So please, when you're building your tactical plans for your business, remember that they are fluid. They're all the how-tos, but they're fluid, and get everybody involved, not just the person who's responsible for the result, saying, hey, it's your plan. You tell us how you want to do it, which is cool. Tell us. But then how can we help you get all of us involved to going, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? How can I help you with that? Do we think that's the best use? All these sorts of things. We need to get more dialogue happening around these things, because this is where execution happens. Okay, you can execute all you like, but if you're executing on all the wrong things at the wrong time for the wrong length of time, you're not productive, you're busy. Okay, and we're going to actually talk about busy and productive next week as a wonderful segue. How's that?
Interesting.
Yeah, so do I have, if you click on the PDF down the bottom there, yeah, that one, and then we share that to the screen. So when we do our fast execution, this is a template that we use just as a thought process. So what's your objective? What's the key result? How are you measuring that? And then we go action. Who's going to be responsible for what? And then so here's the action, who, and when. And so we help people just start to get the initial thoughts. So you can see there's only like 6 steps for each one. It's like if you just got the first 6 steps mapped out and got that set up and underway, and started working on those things, as you get into it and you start doing more of it, you go, oh yeah, we need to do this now, and we need to do that now. And whatever your system is, are you adding to it? Do you have a system A that you can add to it? Yeah, 100%, Mikey. Is this the best use of our time? Right? Because just because we thought it was at the time doesn't mean it still is today.
Absolutely.
Because things are fluid. Things are moving so fast that get all the pre-thinking out, then get into it, start acting on it, and then start going, hey guys, this is what we still had planned. Do we still think that's the best use of our time considering everything else we've got going on right now? And this is how you stay productive rather than become busy. Right? The whole point of this is to help people become more productive, how to do the right things at the right time for the right length of time, rather than setting up big chunky times. Okay, so whatever template you have, whatever system you want to use, we're just sharing with you what we do and how we handle it here at Circle Leadership. But the concept being, be as proactive as you can up front. Okay. Also, Mike. Mike is one of the big dogs at Gerald and Fisherman's Co-op. Very, very highly intelligent and capable human being. I would never say that out loud. Actually, one of my closest and dearest friends too. But he is an amazing leader. Absolutely amazing leader. And they're lucky to have him. So, and mate, if you just that one simple question could be game changing for the way that you move forward as an organization. Please, it seems like just a throwaway line. Is that still the best use of our time? But it's such a powerful, simple question. So, so when we're going through this, be more proactive up front. Work out what needs to be done in small bite-sized pieces, then who and when, get everyone involved in the work, involved in decisions about the work. And that's not just the person who's going to do the work. Then make sure those bite-sized pieces are 15 minutes to no more than an hour in time. All right. Good day, Chad. Chad's watching as well from Canada. Thanks for tuning in, mate. So that's why I want to leave it there. tactical planning, it's a fresh way to look at it rather than coming up with long-term tactical planning, because strategy now, 3 years, what would we measure? What do we need to do in the next 12 months? What do we need to do in 90 days? And only worry about the how-to every 90 days.
And you don't have to run your life off Post-it notes or to-do lists that way either.
Yeah. And to-do lists are things that we do. Like that's it's a very cool tool. Don't get me wrong, but most of it becomes to-done lists.
Yeah.
All right. But it's also reactive. Like I'm making my list of what I need to do. You should have already thought out all that stuff. I think the real secret, the real essence, and I'll leave you guys with this for tactical planning, is having that dialogue. You can develop the plan with it, but having that dialogue going, okay, Lisa, what have you got planned this week? Is that feasible considering everything else you got going on? Have you got time blocked out in your calendar? Do we all agree that's the best use of Lisa's time today with all the talents, abilities, and stuff that we have within her that we're working on, and the plan we want to achieve and the results we're looking for? Is that still the best use of her time? And if it is, awesome, then the plan is right. Keep going and execute. And if there's anything you need from us, Lisa, just let us know. Tiana and I will be here to help you. Okay? Bring everyone along on the journey of the tactical plan. You have so much talent and ability in yourself and your organization that you'd be crazy not to tap into it in today's world. You were crazy before, but in today's world, even more so. So thank you for tuning in for live. Next week, we are talking about, we're going to roll through this into being the difference between being productive and busy. So if you don't have time to watch our live stream next week, well, let me assure you that you're being busy and not being productive. And if you want to find out why, tune in. Live from Circle Leadership Studio, Lisa, the Humicorn Ferguson, great to have you here in the studio. Is there a chance you might still be here next week?
Yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. We can see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, hashtag tactics. If you want this form that we shared with you, how to start mapping out your tactical plans, hashtag tactics, and we'll make sure that we get you the information that you need. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.